Okay, in this session we're going to talk about chords, and you're probably asking, what is a chord? If you don't know, a chord basically is a series of notes, just all put together, played simultaneously. And our example has been C. So if you look at a C, an E, and a G, and you put them together, that makes up a chord. So, and you'll see that there right now that we're using a major chord, so it's considered a major triad, and triad is the example of basically a triangle having three sides. So therein lies your definition. The example is pinky thumb octave on that low register and the right-handed chord. Okay, so that's how we're going to play our chords. When you begin to use them, you begin to move. Okay, you want to follow suit. So what you do in one, you can do in the rest of them. When you're practicing your chords, you're practicing right hand chord, left hand, pinky thumb octave. You're also trying that same chord movement in all 12 keys. Again, rely heavily on that chord book. That's your manual, that's your Bible at times when it comes to chords. You have root position of C, C sharp, D, D sharp or E flat, E, F, F sharp, G, A flat, A, B flat, B, back to C. So you can see that it's just a series of movements, and you gradually increase the amount of keys to step up every time you move up the scale. And you can do the same thing going back down to C again. Okay, so up the keyboard, down the keyboard, right hand chord, left hand octave movement, and all 12 keys. Okay, and here's the tougher part of that is doing that in all the inversions. Now, what is an inversion? An inversion is when you take a root chord, for example. We just took a root chord and we took the root note, the 1 on our scale. Remember that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on. It's the first note in the scale of that key, and we flipped it. We inverted it. We put it up to the next octave. Okay, so what happens is the chord gets transformed. Now it's a different position. So instead of your thumb being on the C, as mine is, now your thumb is going to rest on the E. Okay, the notes haven't changed. C, E, G, still the same, but now it's inverted and it's in a different position. So really important. So what you're doing is you're basically going, okay, those are the inversions. You've got root position, first and second. It's not just majors that you're practicing, you're also practicing just even the way you would practice a scale in a minor scale or a blues scale. You'd also practice these chords in their inverted positions in that variety. So now you have C minor, and you would practice C minor inverted. So first position, second. Okay, so root, first, second. Same rule applies to any key across the board. Okay. The last thing we want to talk about is finding the right inversions to create speed, really. For me, when I first started to play, I had a lot of difficulty in, discovering really, how to use the keyboard in such a way that would allow me to sound fluid. And I'm going to tell you the one issue that I ran up against, and you may or may not be doing this right now, but I think there's a temptation. Maybe I just didn't know any better, but there's a temptation to play in root keys. And it's almost as if, like when I learned the guitar, that I had to learn that there are other variations of chords, and other positions that the same chord could be played in. So what's happening is, if you're playing everything in a root position, the bottom line is it forces you to make larger jumps around the keyboard, therefore not allowing you to grab chords quickly. So if I went and played F root and I wanted to go to the C root, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like almost 4 whole steps for me to just jump to the C. I mean, look at the amount of space that it takes me just to get to the next root position. I mean, hopefully this makes sense to you, but basically what's happening here is it's causing me to make large movements on the keyboard when in essence it's not something that you want to happen. The keyboard, especially when you get into faster, higher praise, faster music, it demands that you have the ability to play in the singable section, like around middle C, and grab as many chords as you can. Now I'm not saying that you don't move around, but the value in knowing your inversions is really everything, and that's what helps, and what helped me develop speed largely. So that same movement going F to C, or C to F rather, that's the reason I told you that I always gravitate to certain positions on chords. I don't play roots mainly for that reason unless I have to or I want to. But largely what I do is I fall back on a certain inversion, which it takes me to the other inverted chord. So I have you got basically C root first, I play C second position, and this is F first position. So C major second position to an F first position, and watch the difference. It's like, see the jump? Now it's, you're just switching a couple of fingers. So the difference is really night and day. So I mean, it's up to you. You may be able to learn how to make those jumps successfully, but also too, it has something to do with the pitch and the tone in which it's played in. So I just like those inversions better because the tone is more even to what I'm doing, and it allows me to grab that 4 chord much faster. So 1 to 4 is so much easier inverted than it is 1 to 4 in root positions. Bottom line, okay?